Should anyone care?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this live stream of patch 115 for Warhammer End Times Vermintide. Joining me today is the waving Tom Batsford.
Hello.
Gameplay programmer here at Fatshark. My name is Liam O'Neill. I'm an associate producer. And Blondie, our mythical stream master, is behind a screen. And that was his hand. So that's pretty cool. Today on the stream, we're going to be walking you through the brand new patch 115, which introduces trait rerolling, which has been a highly anticipated feature. We're going to be walking you through some of those other changes we've made, the kind of smaller quality of life changes, and some changes to the Globadier, which is really exciting. We're also going to be talking about the future of the game, kind of where we're going to be bringing it during 2016, what our plans for the game are going forward. And we will be talking, kind of introducing a new segment of the stream, which is more of a behind-the-scenes meet the devs kind of thing. And Tom is going to be our test subject for that formatting. And we'll kind of learn a bit more.
First one.
Yeah, we'll learn a little bit more about the team, and we're happy to take your questions. Things like, how did we get into the games industry? You know, what do people do here at Fatshark? That kind of stuff. We'll wrap that up with a Q&A, and then ultimately we'll do the hat giveaway, as is Stream's tradition. Tradition.
It was exciting last time, so it'll be exciting this time.
It'll be good. We got some hats to give away, and they are exclusive for the stream viewers. So if you are lucky, you might just have a cool new hat.
Yes.
So let's go through the changelog. First things, the Blondie, the stream master, is going to put the changelog up on the screen. Cool stuff. So yeah, the first big change. We introduced the Shrine of Solace at the end of 2015, and that introduced a completely new way of crafting items. The prey option, which lets you spend tokens in order to acquire loot for any specific hero.
Yeah,
so
that was part of the Sigmar's Blessing DLC.
So if you felt like you needed loot for the Bright Wizard and you were only really playing the Witch Hunter or something, this was a good way for you to say, okay, I want a new ranged weapon for my Bright Wizard.
Yeah.
And two of the other options that we were planning for the Shrine of Solace from the start but didn't quite make it in back in 2015 were the options to reroll traits. So we've got two types of rerolling. The first is kind of swapping all the traits of your weapon.
Yeah, complete rework of the weapon.
Yeah. So it's almost like dropping that same item but with different traits. You don't quite know. And what you're doing there is you're going to be spending a certain amount of tokens, and we'll kind of give you two options. You can either take this new set of traits, or you can keep your existing traits.
Yeah.
I think we can actually show that off in game in just a moment as well. And we've also got Invocation, which is the rerolling, or rather the improvement of a specific trait. So if you have a trait with a proc chance like the Heroic Killing Blow, which is my favorite trait in the game, if that didn't roll perfectly when you unlocked it the first time, now you can actually get that value a little bit higher.
Spend some tokens to increase the proc chance on different proc chance abilities.
Exactly. And the costs for these are actually quite cheap. You're going to, on average, if you salvage one orange item, I think you can kind of reroll 3 or 4 times. Yeah. So it's a pretty generous system, and I think it's actually going to let people tailor their end game items towards what they really want. And I
think that's one of the pains in the game, or before this patch, was finding the weapon type that you liked. Maybe you're a big fan of the Drakefire pistols, for example, but you roll some traits on it that perhaps you don't like. So now you can go in here, swap them out for the ones that you want, keep rolling until you get the ones that you want, and then after that, even if you get some pretty bad rolls on the proc chances, then you can upgrade those proc chances, and then you can end up with the perfect weapon that you were after.
Yeah, if you have your favorite weapon, now you can make it your actual favorite weapon. So that's a really cool change. So can we actually show this off in game? It's more fun. And we'll do some live re-rolling of some traits on Blondie's Steam account.
Exciting.
Apparently Tom is really unlucky with rolls, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay, so the 2 new pages are part of the Shrine of Solace. So this book in the inn, which was added in the previous DLC.
This unlocks at level 5, by the way, for new players. So once you reach level 5, this will be unlocked.
So when you enter it, we have the previous page that you've all seen, and then we can switch pages, like so. So this is the new, or one of the new pages where you can change out the traits that have been randomized on the weapon.
This swaps out your entire set of traits. So if you're using a green item, for example, it's just going to swap out that one trait. With a blue, it's both of them. With an orange, it's all 3 traits. And I think we can do that.
I think we can do it with an orange. If we throw this in,
Let's do it.
So we can, perhaps if you don't like, we can scroll down here and show the traits that are currently on the weapon. Perhaps you don't like, maybe you like 2 of these, but there's only one. So you've got, there's one that you want to replace.
Yeah.
And that might take a long time to try and replace because you are going for this perfect weapon. But you always have the option of keeping the previous set of traits, like you said. So
yeah, it's never supposed to be a downgrade, and that really is the system in a nutshell. Is we always want there to be room for improvement, and we want you to have a lot of chances at re-rolling and like doing it over and over again. But ultimately, if you're not happy with your roll, you can always revert to your previous one.
Yeah. So if we roll these,
Oh,
you're presented with this screen, and the screen here highlights the old and the new traits. So as you can see here on the right hand side, the traits that are new aren't unlocked. So any traits that you've previously unlocked on the weapon will not be. You won't have anything unlocked on the new set.
exactly.
However, like you can just keep the previous set. So, you know, if I'm not a fan of this, I can just go ahead and select and keep the old ones, and then try again. And then I can switch.
Ooh,
How? There we go.
perfect balance is pretty cool on a Rapier.
Yeah. So then you can select the new traits, and then on the left you'll see the new traits switch around, and they're the ones that I now have on the weapon. So then I could go in, unlock these traits, and then start with the next page, which is...
Invocation. So this is the re-rolling of a specific trait value, and this is for anything with a proc chance. So we unlocked an item earlier, which is this Holy Fervor Repeater Pistol, which has a regrowth with a 4.4 chance to recover 5 health. So the lowest possible value for that trait to roll is 2%, and the highest is 5%. Right now we have 4.4.
Which means that it's going to be quite tricky to improve it, but
Yes.
obviously it could happen.
With Tom's luck, we'll see. Should we try?
So,
Should we spend all our tokens and just try it?
yeah, sure. First thing you might notice, however, is that the other trait on the weapon is blanked out.
Yes.
And that's because it doesn't have a proc chance on it. So
Right.
there's no stat on that trait that you can re-roll. So we only display the ones that are possible to be upgraded. So if we try and upgrade this now,
You hit the wrong button.
there we go. Oh, there we go. Upgrade by 0.3%.
Pretty good, pretty good.
This, no, okay. No.
That proves it's not staged.
No, exactly. So now we can continue going, and I think I got pretty lucky on that first one. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm only 0.3 off the max now, so... Okay, well. So now you have something that you can pile any excess tokens in once you have that perfect weapon that you're after, and you're really trying to get that absolute perfect 5% on that proc. Then you can start hammering some tokens into these weapons and get them there.
You know, it is fairly cheap, as we said, and it's also... Sometimes you're going to get lucky and you're just going to roll it perfectly at once.
Like that?
Bam. Also, one thing as well is that we added intentionally was if you've rolled the lowest possible value of a proc chance, so like in the case of this Hail of Doom trait right here, if that would have already rolled 5% when you unlock it in the Forge, you cannot invocate to 5% as well. The lowest possible is an upgrade, which is like 5.1% in that case. Just so you wouldn't end up being super unlucky twice.
Yeah, I think there was the downside of it having such small differences between the values as well, that you could, for something that was between 1 and 3%, it was very easy, or a lot easier to get that highest mark.
Exactly.
But obviously the inverse for large percentages.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's one of the changes we made as well, which is you can find the full list of changelogs on vermintide.com. And one of the big changes we made to traits that kind of ties into the system is how traits are unlocked. So previously, traits would only unlock in increments of 0.5%, right? So a trait which had, say, 1, 2, 3%, like that was the span that you could unlock it in. That would unlock in 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and 3. Those were the only possible outcomes of unlocking that trait. And one of the ways that we kind of looked at this system and said we want to make it quite cheap. When we had it cheap and we had, what was that?
I got mastercrafted like 3 times in a row.
Nice. When we had it really cheap and we had traits like Heroic Killing Blow, which is, you know, one of those traits which you want to max out immediately, it was just too easy to max it out basically when you were invocating it. So we've changed the traits overall to make it so that they're a bit more equalized. Now every trait has 20 steps between its minimum and its maximum value, and that means that it's equally difficult or easy to max any trait basically. So the traits that were previously kind of 20 to 40% or a crazy span like that now only have 20 steps, and it also helps make them a bit more unique, and it kind of adds some more fun in percentages, which
I think one thing to note is that although there's 20 steps between the 1 and the 3%, like 3% on a trait, for example, Heroic Killing Blow, is a really quite high percent chance to instantly kill a rat ogre, for example.
Exactly.
So it has, you know, the balancing is in there, because a 0.1 increase on that, or 0.5 increase on that, is quite significant because of how good the trait is.
Exactly. Yeah, 1% is, 100 less attacks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get mathematical. It's too late. I will also say we're here in our new streaming room at Fatshark. I know the background
Mm.
kind of looks the same, but we're actually in a new location, so that's pretty fun for us. Just bragging about the
Nice
streaming
setup.
room. Oh, there's our green screen. That's pretty cool. Yes, so let's
Should we look through
continue. Yeah, let's go
other
through the change log. I guess the other big thing that we've been doing for this patch is kind of looking at some community requests and things that have been highly requested, and try to do some kind of quality of life changes to the game. One of the first ones is the option to disable head bobbing. That's something that we've got a lot of feedback from, players who get motion sickness while they're playing around, because it's a first-person game. It's very action-oriented, and some players are sensitive to that. So we've added that option, which I think should definitely help if you're experiencing motion sickness.
Same thing for camera shakes as well.
Exactly.
That was what really got me whilst I was playing, whenever the screen started shaking.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that option's been added, because I sometimes get affected by motion sickness in games.
Right, yeah, and for me personally, I was just like, I'm happy because now I don't miss my headshots on Horde of Magnus when someone blows the horn too early.
Yeah.
So
Or when
that's
the
good.
bell's falling at the end of Man the
Oh
Round
yeah,
Falls.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. One of the other changes we made is the option to swap the game state between public and private as it is going on. So basically what you can do is you can hit the tab button in a game, and at the top of the screen you'll be able to just choose this kind of checkbox where it says private, click that, or kind of toggle between private and public, basically. And what that lets you do is, if you start a game by yourself and you kind of feel like midway, I actually want to just finish it by myself, or I actually want to invite other people, you can swap between those things.
Yeah.
Or another example would be if you host a private games with your friends, and one of them has to leave, and you decide, okay, well, now we want just anybody to be able to join. That's a good way to get some randoms into your game and kind of keep things going. And we've also added a kind of AFK detection to the game. So if somebody idles for too long within a game, this doesn't count in the inn, because in the inn a host can kick a player, right?
Yeah.
If you go up to the map, you can actually kick players who are being idle in the inn. But within a level, if you're just kind of idling around at the start, for example, after a certain amount of time, you get a notification that tells you, gotta do something now, this game are attacking. And then it'll tell you you're out of the game. Yeah, basically. Haste is required.
Haste is required.
So yeah, just small things here and there, and these are the kind of changes that we intend to keep putting out to the game. As requests keep coming in, especially things that are easy to implement, it's just good to keep the game alive. There is a lot of small changes here.
Lots
So
of bug fixes, optimization fixes and things.
Yeah, I know one thing that we've added is the option to toggle the resolution of transparency, which is actually a really good performance gain.
Yeah.
But we have got some reports that there were a couple of oddities there. So if you see anything strange, please let us know in the bug report forums. We'll look into that. This patch was also gone through the kind of public test branch, which we are planning on using a lot more.
Yeah, we should probably talk about that.
Yeah, so we've done some public testing for this, and we would love to include you guys in more future updates. And it's pretty simple. We have a Steam group which is called Vermin Test, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And you can join that, and you'll get announcements on when we're doing kind of public testing for new patches. In this case, with the Shrine of Solace upgrades, we were actually able to keep progression between public test and the main game, which meant people can go in and start re-rolling traits before anybody else, basically. So it's a good chance if you want to try cool new stuff out before anybody else does.
And it helps us considerably, because it means that we get to test if there's any crashes or any major problems with the patch before we deploy it to the main game. So
actually, one thing that came up out of the testing now was we've made some pretty major changes to the way the Globadier we've made him more consistent. We've made him handle weird situations a bit better. So he has become a bit more dangerous, and that was very noticeable in Cataclysm difficulty, or so our players told us, that he was doing just a little bit too much damage.
It was definitely noticeable.
It was getting crazy, because he is a lot better now. And so one of the changes that we made was actually we tuned down his damage just a little bit.
But only on... No, we've tuned down that
the
damage
impact,
on the impact, but
That's
increased the damage over time. So the longer you stay in, the more painful it is. But that initial hit from a Globadier that perhaps you haven't seen yet or know about isn't going to be quite as...
The Globadier was doing 30% of your health on impact with the Globe. And on Cataclysm, you're already low on health.
Yes.
So it was dangerous. I think that is pretty much all the patch notes we need to go through. There's tons of smaller stuff, so please check out our website, and you can check out the Steam forums for a complete list of changes. We fixed the boar helmet's description. I think that's my favorite patch.
No, good.
There was a really funny gif of the boar helmet. So, I was almost tempted to just keep that, but we didn't do that. And yes, one other thing, we are currently being featured on Steam together with a bunch of other Games Workshop titles as a 20% off sale.
Yes.
So if your friends haven't bought Vermintide yet for some reason, this is a good chance to convince
Up
them to
to
buy.
90% off all games, I think.
Up to different Games
Different
Workshop.
Games Workshop titles,
Yeah.
exactly.
And we're 20% off, which is the highest we've been so far. So that's cool. I think we'll move on.
The future.
The future, yes. This is a broad topic. Are there aliens in space?
I think the future of Vermintide is probably
next
what
stream.
we should
We'll do Vermintide for now.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of questions about the state of the game and kind of, are the developers alive? Are they listening to us and all that kind of stuff? And it's always fair questions. One of the things that we did after launch was we put out Sigmar's Blessing, and then a lot of us took vacations because it was a long burn from start of production to end of production.
Yeah.
I know I personally ramped up about 140 overtime hours, which it is the games industry. It can be a crazy time, crazy place at times. But
we've recovered now though, and
we're all better now.
We're definitely on adding stuff.
We're on it.
We are.
Yes. So
specifically something this week, if I'm not mistaken.
We're actually
announcing something this
that's
week.
It. That's
of
it.
course.
So yeah, one thing that we're going to be doing this week, which is fun, which Tom has kind of hinted at, is that we're going to be announcing a brand new game mode for the game with some juicy details of that. And let me tell you, it's pretty cool.
It's fun. Definitely.
I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah.
We just did some testing yesterday, and I told one of the testers in the QA team, like, we're going to be doing some testing of this new game mode. I almost said the name of the mode right there. Close one. And her reaction was, yes, cool.
Yeah.
So that's the general feeling in the office right now. It really, it's a new experience to the game in such a way that you're going to love it.
Going around the office, just grabbing teams to see who's enjoying it the most.
Exactly. You almost spoiled it there as well, I heard.
Yep. No.
It's a really cool thing, and I guess what we want to touch on there with the future overall is that the entire production team at Fatshark, which for the production of Vermintide, the basic game, was about 50 people. All of those 50 people are still working on Vermintide. They're still producing more content for Vermintide. And one of the reasons why we haven't had a ton of kind of DLC come out so far is, part of it is because we went on vacation, which is only part of it, but another part is we didn't work on DLC until after the game was released, which is actually quite unconventional, strangely enough. A lot of the time you'll kind of prepare DLC before the game's launched, but we wanted to make sure that the game was just as complete as it possibly could be. So we haven't held out at all.
We've had everyone working on the project up until launch, and then now everyone's focused on DLCs for after.
Exactly.
Paid and free, of course.
Both paid and free. We're going to be having things like new levels, the new game mode, which we're talking about later this week. I think Thursday to be announced. We'll see about that. We're also going to be having new enemies, all sorts of cool new stuff, and obviously the console version, which has taken a lot of effort as well, getting the game out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which is aimed for the first half of 2016.
Big priority.
It is a big priority. It takes a lot of work, and what's good about the console version is that all of the optimization work that we're doing to get the game to run on the consoles, a lot of that is going to be translatable to the PC, and that means that the PC version is going to get smoother and smoother as we kind of optimize the console version. So it's not cannibalizing either side. It really helps us to develop this way, and in particular to focus on the consoles after launch is good, because then we can have full focus on making those versions really, really good. So that's going to be cool. Tons of new stuff in the works. We got some really cool levels going on as well. I'd love to share more of that, but
later date.
Yeah, what I can probably say is that the announcement on Thursday will take care of that. I'm not going to spoil it.
Yeah, have that to look forward to. Are we going to be doing a live stream for the announcement on Thursday, or will it be?
I think that will just be kind of just an announcement, but it would be cool to stream the new game mode at some point.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
See about that. I don't think we will do that on Thursday, but
okay.
Maybe in a week or two. We're also fully committed to fixing bugs and exploits and all sorts of things that come up. One of the kind of big things that has been talked about is the audio issues that we have in the game right now. I know one of the problems that has been kind of fixed and broken and back and forth is the music slider in the game. And the irony is we fixed the music slider, we tested it, it worked, we built the patch, we put it out there, and it was broken. And we did the exact same. Yeah, we did the exact same process again. Our test team checked it out. It's fine. Okay, it's out, and it was broken again. And we just started wondering what is going on when we make a patch. And what we've tracked it down to is there's an issue with our patch system where the sound changes aren't being properly included into a patch version of the game.
But that's being worked on.
That is being worked on. Apparently, it's a bit trickier than we were hoping it would be. But I know that we have people. Soon. yeah, we have people who are testing that, and as soon as that's done, we'll patch it up and just get that live, because we find that as annoying, if not more, than you guys do.
Yeah,
definitely. One of the other kind of main things that we've been getting requests for is the, people playing the same level over and over again is something that has been not so enjoyable for people, and we're adding in a quest system, actually.
Yeah, I don't think we can really go into details on how that one's going to work, but
no, but it's going to give some more incentives.
Incentives to play on different levels. You just mix it up a bit.
Exactly.
Get the community and the players spread out across all the levels and play.
And obviously, right now we are doing a double XP week.
Oh yeah,
which is, again, it's our first kind of community event that we're doing. It's very basic. It kind of gives us a chance to kind of test out some systems and some ideas, and we are planning on doing a lot more events going forward into 2016. Tom and I are actually part of the event team, which is going to be working on some cool stuff. So we'll get there soon. All right, I think that's about it for the future. There is no more future.
Plenty to look forward to. Definitely
Absolutely.
Plenty to look forward to.
As soon as we have more to show you, we will. And definitely stay tuned to our website, because we're always kind of hinting at some cool stuff going on over there. So let's move on to the next segment of the stream, which is Meet the Devs. Today we're going to meet Tom Batsford. Who's right?
Who's that?
I know, surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the idea of this, it's something that we've been asked to kind of go a bit more behind the scenes and how we work as a company and that kind of stuff. And so we just thought that we would introduce various developers, people who work in various departments of the production team, and talk a little bit about their background, what they're doing at the company, that kind of thing. So Tom, tell us about yourself. Who is Tom Batsford?
So my name's Tom, obviously, and I am from England. I moved to Sweden about 2.5 years ago.
Have you learned Swedish yet?
No, I have not learned Swedish yet. My Swedish is a little bit rusty, so if there's any questions in Swedish about this, then it's going to be a bit awkward.
Ask him Swedish questions.
So I've been working at Fatshark for 2.5 years now, and I joined the company as a gameplay programmer. There's been lots of things that I've been working on. Primarily weapons for the different characters, weapon traits, trinkets, pickups, all that kind of stuff, and how the weapons function. I've been working at 2.5 years I've been at Fatshark, and that's the whole time that I spent in the games industry. So Fatshark has been the first place that I came to after graduating from university, and it's where I've stayed because it's a great company. So there's no reason for me to be leaving right now, because Vermintide's a great game and Fatshark's a great company, so it's pretty awesome.
It is a good time to be working on this game. It is a lot of fun because people have really liked it, so I'll agree with you there.
I'd say obviously I work in the games industry, so I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to playing games and all that kind of stuff. I've been playing Diablo 3 pretty consistently this week.
Which greater rift have you reached now?
73, something like that. Not leaderboards yet.
So. I'm at 50 or something.
Dungeons and Dragons player, Magic the Gathering player, all that kind of stuff. Just because it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's great hanging out with other nerdy people, whether they're from the games industry or not.
Good stuff.
What's
your D&D character?
A monk, a half-orc monk.
Cool.
Yeah, but I DM now, so
that's true.
Yeah, we'll be starting tomorrow. Exciting.
We're starting a D&D group tomorrow. That's gonna be fun. So how did you get into the games industry?
So I started playing video games when I was very young. I never had a console or anything when I was a little-in. But I remember playing Warcraft 3 quite consistently, and there was one cutscene that really struck me when I was playing that game, and that's when Arthas returns home. I'm sure many people know that cutscene.
Spoilers.
But that cutscene, for some reason, made me realise that it's people that make video games. I was just like this consumer. I didn't really understand where games came from. I just played them. They were fun. Yeah. But then I realised that, someone's actually gone to the time and effort of making this, composing this, making this game. And I really started looking into how to get into the industry after that. Then later years of school, I was advised to take a very generic, do a very generic degree, so it leaves lots of doors open and that. And I thought, screw that, I want to do something very specific, which is my first recommendation for if you want to join the games industry, specialise in something. So I decided to do a programming degree at the University of Derby in England. And that is what led me here. Ultimately, it was a 4-year course, but the third year was an internship for a full year. And I was lucky enough to get an internship at Fatshark. No idea how I managed that. I just sent an email. They must have liked what I do, and then I ended up working here for a year. That was on War of the Roses.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then I went back to university for a year, and now I'm in the games industry and loving every minute of it.
One email, folks. That's all it takes. A specialized education and a couple of years of work. But there you go.
A lot of work, hard work, definitely.
You got to re-roll a lot of trades to get into the games industry. Yes. You got any other tips for people who want to work with games?
I'd say if you are truly passionate about video games, then definitely look into it as a career choice. There is so many different jobs in the games industry. I think a lot of people think that it's very programmer orientated if you don't know much about games, but obviously there's artists, and then you have all the other sides like production, quality assurance,
sound design, all sorts of cool stuff.
And then out of that you have people that work in the games industry that aren't necessarily working on games, so support staff in work that just love games and love working at a games company. Blonde is a primary example of that, being the IT technician at Fatshark. So I would definitely look into what job opportunities there are in the games industry. That's the first step, and then look for something that takes your fancy. I mean, if you feel like a bit of an artist, then send your stuff off. I think the best way to do it is to just be proactive and send your work to someone. If you've made a little game, or you've got a game idea, or you fancy yourself as a bit of a designer, just send your ideas. Send your pictures, send your code, all of the above, and eventually, someone's going to look at it and be, yeah, you're pretty damn good. Would you like to come in for an interview, or we can offer you maybe a work trial for a couple of months? And that's what I was lucky enough to get. And then after that, you're in.
Exactly, and then you're stuck for life.
But it's quite a lot of dedication, that's for sure. I think be passionate is my main thing, my main tip. Be passionate about what you do. Keep at it, practice, and make friends. If you know people that work in games, that's a great step, because they can introduce you to a lot more people that work in games. And I know one of the things that we do here is we have drinks evenings with students. And that's great, because you get to meet all the students, all the people that will be looking for jobs in games later, and that's really beneficial for them, but also really beneficial for us, because we get to scout out the talent, see if there's any good internship prospects for anyone.
It's funny, because we had a guy. He doesn't actually work at Fatshark anymore. He moved to DICE. It's called David.
Yes. Who
actually joined us because he met somebody we were working with during one of these kind of drink nights. And he was just, I'm looking for a job actually. And then, we know some people over at Fatshark. They're looking for somebody. Okay. And just kind of happened. And it's funny how a little bit of effort and a little bit of kind of asking around can get you somewhere. So it's a true story, Blum. One is just laughing. I think somebody wrote something funny in the chat.
Yeah.
Is it good?
BJS336 says, Tom, your dad is on Liam's shirt.
Oh, that is...
fantastic.
That is really funny, actually.
I think without the beard, it might look a bit like my dad, but
never shaved.
He doesn't have the thing.
The entity of beard. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Tom.
No worries.
Anything else you'd like to say about games or anything? I don't know. Do you have any game ideas you want to talk about?
No.
Tom's game idea?
Yeah, I definitely have game ideas that I come up with every now and then.
They're secret, aren't they?
Yeah, secret projects. I think it's worth mentioning though that it's not just gameplay programming that I work with. I mean, that's my job title, and that is what I specifically work with usually day to day, but I spend a lot of my time as well working with interns. If we have interns in, I act as a mentor for them. I think it's good that I was at Fatshark as an intern, because that means that I know what an intern sort of requires.
You kind of know the struggles and the questions that come up.
Exactly, and then I can really help them out with that. And then I've also helped with being a scrum master for different teams. So looking through or working with the producers to work out what people should be working on at what times and things like that.
And because we're a small studio, I guess there is a lot of kind of wearing different hats.
Yeah.
Not necessarily physical hats, but sometimes
physical hats.
We've got scrum hats.
Fridays.
Cool. Friday hats.
We
used to have a Friday hat tradition, but it kind of fell off a bit.
Yeah, we have the Scrum Lord hats now, though. So.
Yeah. They're pretty cool.
I think that's everything.
Unless the stream has any questions for Tom, but we can get to that in the Q&A otherwise.
Well, that's the next section, isn't it?
It is the next section. We do one thing that we forgot to do earlier, which is just talk about another feature that I don't know if a lot of people are aware of, but we actually have support for something called Alien FX, which is if you own an Alienware device, like anything that's compatible with Alien FX, like a laptop, as you can see, or I think the different desktops, and there's some keyboards and stuff.
Yeah.
We've got integration with that Light FX software, where depending on what you're doing in the game, we'll actually change the lighting around. So, for example, if you're in kind of heavy combat, we'll be flashing the lights red, and like it's really fun when you're using the Bright Wizard and you're using all that flame magic, and it's like the orange and the red lights are going on.
There's a good example there in the video as well of it changing with your health.
Yeah,
So the lights indicate how much health you have.
exactly.
It's pretty interesting.
We have stuff like if you're in a Globadier's gas cloud, the lights will just pop green, and it feels like you're in the poison cloud. It's so real. It just helps you like be pushed into the immersion. If you're sitting in a like a dark room and you just see all those lights popping up as you're playing the game, it feels really cool. We've got some basic stuff, like if you're in the inn, we kind of use yellow lights that match the look of the inn with all these like candle lit and the fireplace. So it's a really cool thing. So if you have a device that uses Alien FX, definitely check that out with the game. And on that note, let's go on to our Q&A, which is the last section before the item giveaway.
Oof, exciting.
And let me just announce once again, we have no plans for microtransactions because it's a question we get a lot.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can now see your questions.
Can you click more messages below?
Someone says Tom has a nice face and he likes it.
Thank you very much.
Wasn't really a question, but hey. Oh, so many questions. Answer hats. What does that mean?
Okay. Question and answer. Auto kick 2 minutes. Is it too little?
Too little. I mean, I guess the thing is with auto kicking, it only happens when you're in a level. So if you're standing still for 2 minutes, that's when the notification pops up. There's another minute for you to click it. If you're idling for 3 minutes within a level, enemies are going to start spawning and coming at you. And I mean, you kind of need to be on top of that. If you need to go AFK for 3 minutes, return to the inn and chill out is our argument. But, you know,
I think if you're playing with friends as well, you just like make sure that you need a break before you start. Stay in the inn, and then when you join the game, you just play. It's just so that when you have randoms in or random players in your game, you're not like holding them back. You're not, because obviously they're going to be running through the level and starting fighting all the Skaven, and you're just stood there whilst you're on a bio or something.
Exactly. I mean, they can always vote kick you as well if they want to do that. But, I guess the big thing is, you know, if you think that's too short, if you experience that you're being auto-kicked a lot and it's just not a good time, if we get that kind of feedback, we'll look into it and we'll iterate on it. We have no illusions of the game being in a perfect state, but we are constantly working on making it as good as it possibly can be.
Saw a good question there at the top.
Was that?
Why did we choose the Warhammer IP instead of trying to come up with our own?
Well, so as long as Fatshark has been a company, you know, before I was born, basically, for a very long time, making a Warhammer game has always been one of the kind of dream projects to do, right? So our creative director, Anders, for example, absolute Warhammer geek, has painted Warhammer armies and like won awards for his armies.
Yeah,
very
impressive painting.
Yeah, and the artist we hired that does all of the weapon models, basically, Nicholas, also complete Warhammer geek. We hired the guy because he's a Warhammer geek. You know, the story I always tell is one time that our accountant kind of walked by my desk and I asked a quick question about the Wood Elf history, and he gave me about a 40-minute monologue on the history of the Wood Elf race and everything. I was like, this is so much information.
I think it's dedication, definitely.
Yeah.
It's so rich as well. There's so much background. For the universe.
Exactly. I mean, it's like it's been around for 30 years plus. I'm misquoting, maybe. It's been ages, and there just isn't a fantasy world that is as well developed as the Warhammer world. I mean, there's so much to take from, so much to do with the world, and being absolute fans of Warhammer, building a Warhammer game, and like building the kind of game that we wanted to make and setting it within that world that we love, just felt like a perfect match. And when we talked to Games Workshop about it, they agreed. They thought it sounded like a really cool idea for a game, and here we are. You know, people seem to like it. Not to brag, but
I think our love for the IP has definitely shone through into the game. We've wanted it to be very much a Warhammer game, and I think that's been great for us because we've had this example of the Warhammer world, and now we're able to just throw that together into a game and see it as a living thing.
Exactly.
More than a tabletop game or books.
Yeah, it's fun because, I mean, something that we've done in the past is a lot of melee combat, and that's, you know, bringing first-person melee combat into the Warhammer world is just like, it's the game we wanted to play, you know. When you love an IP, I mean, who hasn't thought about making a Star Wars game sometime in their life, for example? You know, it's fun to kind of take your fantasy within that world and turn it into reality.
Want to grab a question?
Will Liam's hair be an unlockable character? That'd be great. I don't think I'm part of the Warhammer universe yet.
Do you have any plans for adding alternative objectives to a map? Instead of destroying a warehouse and waterfront, you could instant scavenger shipment.
So we are working on a quest system.
Yeah, I think...
Next question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly... Yeah, we can't really talk about that yet.
No.
Well, there are a lot of questions. This is scrolling quickly. Will there be skins in the future to be crafted, found, etc.? Skins is something we've been asked about a lot, and I think it's definitely a possibility. But not in the form of microtransactions. We're never doing microtransactions. I always have to say that every stream because I keep getting asked about it. Is there a chance to add new level up rewards? I think that would be pretty cool. I guess one of the changes that the Shrine makes is that now gaining weapons you can actually kind of smelt. Using the tokens to get the items you want, I think really helps with getting the kind of items that you're interested in. But I think our level system definitely has a lot of potential to be improved on. So that's an option.
I think I've seen a few people asking, what is there to do after you've got your like perfected orange weapon, or you perhaps have a red weapon for your character. And I think the best answer for that is, I mean, if you enjoy playing the game, hopefully you're going to continue playing because it's fun. But also it's going to allow you to try and complete all the levels on Cataclysm, and then you have your other characters. Perhaps you've managed to perfect a melee weapon for the Witch Hunter, but then you have to try and grab one for your preferred ranged weapon for him, and then you're going to play. You will have played with him for quite a while.
Exactly.
You might want to move on to a different character.
Yeah, start collecting some hats.
Exactly.
Start getting all that stuff. I mean,
and I think the quest system as well is definitely going to add more things to do in the game. Hopefully.
And we're also adding a new game mode.
Yes.
Which will be announced later this week, and that is, let me tell you, this game mode is going to have a lot of replay value to it. I'm really looking forward to getting that out there.
That is why you're going to want your new shiny weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll explain that on Thursday.
Let's see. Wow, these questions are going so quickly. Someone asked about new enemies. We will be adding new enemies to the game. Until we kind of have more specifics than that, we'll have to wait. Question, what does the luck trait on trinkets do? Tom, would you like to answer that?
I don't know if we should.
It makes you luckier.
No. Every stream we get this question.
It's true.
One day, I think the answer is actually online.
The answer is out there if you Google it, but we don't want to spoil it.
No, it has been found out.
Yeah. What does... Oh, I missed it. I'm missing so many questions.
When can I control the rat?
Yeah. Next question.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything to say on that, actually.
No.
Question, do you have plans for quests? Yes, we are working on quest system.
Yes.
We will have more details on that. Hopefully,
probably soon.
I would hope that we have some more info on the quest system during February, maybe March at the latest, I would say.
Probably around that time.
Yeah.
It's going to be good, though.
There's a question on the red weapons. I'm seeing a couple of questions on the reds. So, one of the questions we've been getting a lot is kind of why some orange items are better than the red items, and we can kind of touch on that. Is the design for the red items from the start was always for them to be kind of, they have these set traits that can only roll perfectly. They are this like really good end game item, and they're obviously good weapons, but if they don't feel perfect, we still want there to be like orange items that you can get to be even better than the red. That was always a little bit of the plan, and so the red items really have this like collectible value. They're a lot of fun to try to gather. They're really difficult to get. And if you don't...
models as well. I mean, they all look different from all the other weapons.
The rib cage staff for the right, which
fantastic.
Is so cool.
Fantastic.
But I'm sure we'll look at adding more red weapons at some point. And if you don't like a red weapon, what's cool about them is if you salvage them, you actually get twice as many orange tokens as you would from salvaging an orange item. So you can spend that on some other cool stuff. When is the XP weekend? We're actually doing an XP week, and it has already started. So if you start playing right now, it is going, and it started with the patch that came out today.
Someone asked me what IDE and language we're using for Vermintide.
Oh, okay.
And so we're using the Autodesk Stingray engine to build Vermintide in, and the majority of us primarily script using Lua to do the majority of all the gameplay things. And then we also have some engine side programmers that work in C++ to add features to the Stingray engine that perhaps we need, but they can't support quite yet. And that's very beneficial for us because it lets us add specific features that really help us gameplay scripters in our work.
Exactly.
I also saw another question about... No, never mind.
There's a question about what are we going to do to improve performance, and I guess, you know, the simple answer to that is we're always working on optimizing the game further. And as we kind of touched on previously, the console versions that we're doing for the game, which are coming out hopefully in the first half of 2016, a lot of the optimization work that's going into the consoles is translatable to the PC. So it kind of means that once we start getting the console versions running smoothly, we can bring some of that optimization over to the PC version and make it better. At what age did you realize you want to grow an epic beard? Tom, you're a stream legend.
17.
Was that a true story?
Yeah, true story. I remember specifically saying to one of my friends at the time, beards are going to come back. So I grew a beard when I was 17, and now I've had it for 7 years.
I actually shaved this morning, so I realized I'd look silly with my beard.
Yeah. There's a lot of people asking about new characters. I assume
new characters.
We haven't really released any information about that.
Cannot add anything.
No.
Can programmers add chaos to the game? Somebody asked. So that's a funny question because programmers wouldn't be the people adding that. What I will say about chaos is that our I guess executive producer. That's a good title. He is quoted to have said that there is a slightly higher than 50% chance of us adding chaos at some point.
Yeah.
So what we can say is it's slightly higher than 50% that we will add chaos at some point.
Yeah.
55.6 or something like that?
55.6 is a good guess, yeah. And if you use the new Invocate option in the Shrine of Solace, maybe we can get that value even higher.
That's the question that I noticed. It's something that I have been definitely wanting, and that is an in-game friends list other than when you're in the map screen, and also people that you have recently played with.
Yeah.
I personally would very much like that feature in the game. I don't know if there's any plans for it, but I will try and push for it personally, at least, because I think it's very useful. If you find a group of random players that are all really, you know, great people, you really get on, you gelled well, you play together well, you want to try and play again, and then someone drops connection because they've got to go and grab a meal or something. There's no way to find those players again currently.
Exactly.
So having the ability to see, oh, they were the people that I recently played with, I'll add them as friends, and we can.
Oh, that was that dwarf who kept reviving me.
Exactly. So I would really very much like to add that feature.
We should look into that. There was one question on the story of the characters and kind of if we're going to continue the story of our heroes, and I would say yes. I think we're going to be sticking with these guys a while longer, and we'll see. The end times are brutal, so we'll see if they make it.
There was a question about input delay on the controller. I think we're going to be definitely putting more work into the controllers as we're similar with the optimization as we're working on the consoles. More any controller fixes or helping things that we add for the consoles will hopefully go into the PC. Yeah,
you know, because right now what we have, as far as the PC goes with gamepad support, we don't have the kind of full big picture support on Steam and all that stuff. It was hastily implemented just so we would have it as an option. And it's definitely not ideal. I think it works quite well. You know, it works fine, but it can be better, and that's where we want to end up being. So we'll get there. What about new potions? I actually don't know anything. Do you know anything about new potions? Is there a plan? Should we go make some right now?
There was a potion that we didn't launch with, but whether that's going to be used in the future or not, I don't know. So we'll have to see about that.
It's true.
Someone asked whether or not with a controller you can shoot the Witch Hunter's pistol on with the rapier, and I believe you can if you walk forward and then click the right stick.
Oh, you can. He's proven it. So click the right stick as you're moving forward.
So move forward with the left stick, and then click in the right stick, and you'll shoot your rapier. Pistol combo.
Definitely not Conrad asked, when is the Space Marine coming? Wrong universe.
Tom, who is your favourite hero?
Oh,
Kerillian, definitely. And the main reason that Kerillian is my favourite hero is because...
It's the worst.
No, definitely not. You always top the damage with Kerillian. It's because I love the one-handed sword with the killing blow trait on. It's so good. And the True Flight bow is also fantastic for if you're the designated special killer or and then you can I feel like she's very versatile
Yeah,
with what she can do, and that's what I like about her.
for sure. Yeah.
Plus, I like being the DPS as opposed to frontlining. My second, however, though, is probably Bardin with mace and shield and just standing at the front and pushing enemies around continuously. It's
like
great,
that.
great fun.
That's why I like the Empire Soldier.
I have a question here from Every Name Ever Is Taken. And it's...
Good name, man.
When will you add an upgrade option for Collector's Edition?
Collector's Edition upgrade is available. You can check out vermintide.com. You can hit the buy now. I think if you hover over the buy now option, you can actually hit upgrade Collector's Edition under that. So you can upgrade to Collector's Edition via our website, which is vermintide.com. I need more DLC, says Imperiex. We've got more DLC coming. Check out our announcement later this week on the brand new game mode. That's actually coming out pretty soon. I can't tell you when. Number values for weapon stats is a question we're getting.
In what regard?
I would assume
I
that
see, I know.
right now we have the
The bars.
Oh, someone else is asking the same question.
Yeah.
Is there a reason we don't show those numbers? It's a good question. I think there's probably...
There probably is a reason, but I can't say it off the top of my head.
No.
We'd have to ask one of the designers, I think.
I know that we were in touch with a guy who was interested in helping us kind of build some... I can't remember what it was. He was interested in some information to help build some more kind of
Wiki,
guides.
Yeah,
type stuff.
guides and things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it sounded really cool, and I know that one of our designers was in touch with him, so it's possible that we'll be able to get that info out. How much will the DLC cost? We haven't announced it yet.
No. When we announce paid DLCs,
We're going to have both paid and free DLC
Yeah.
coming in the future, and we want to try to be as friendly as we can. One of the things that we're doing with DLC in general is whenever if we sell a map, for example, like a new level, if Tom buys that DLC and I don't, and Tom hosts a game, he can still invite me even though I don't have it, and I can join and play.
yes.
I just won't be able to host games unless I don't buy that.
So if you have a group of friends, there's 4 of you that really enjoy playing the game, then only one of you really needs to own the DLC. Of course, we would encourage everyone who wants to support the game to buy the DLC. But it doesn't leave one guy that perhaps doesn't have the money to be able to buy the DLC. He can still play with his friends and join in.
Exactly, because we don't want to split the community. That's the big thing. So let's take a couple more questions. Let's do 3 more.
I have a question here from
Right.
Gigi Nicole. You so good. These names are fantastic. I'm a game designer graduating May 2016. Internship with you lovely people, perhaps? Please. Don't ask, you don't get it. Right.
Very true.
That is true. So Tom actually gave you that advice.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you one simple thing. fatsharkgames.com/jobs. Send us an application.
Yeah, I think there's an open application form that we
There is.
take internship requests or job requests.
Yeah,
I don't know if we're looking for any jobs specifically,
I
but
mean-
we're always looking at taking on interns. I
Yeah,
think.
what's funny is, sometimes you don't know that you've been missing something until you got it. I think that's
Exactly.
a quote from Cinderella or
Definitely send us something.
something. Yeah, because...
Examples of your work and, who you are. Just a brief description of...
Exactly. Send us some
all
cool
that kind
stuff
of
and
information.
blow our minds and we'll be stupid to say no, right? Further character customization. I would say that's definitely an option for the future. Definitely a possibility is what I mean.
Also,
What about the room in the basement?
we're that's an exciting one, I guess.
Yeah, let's take another question.
I saw one about adding more magic to the game, like whether we would add
Right.
freeze or things. I think when we first did we definitely haven't announced anything regarding that, but when we did the initial launch stream, I remember CEO mentioning that was something that he would really like in the game, like the ability to have maybe a cold mage or something.
Yeah.
But whether we add that to the game or not is probably how much effort he puts into wanting us to make it. So.
Yeah, it's definitely something we can look into. Dedicated servers is also something we are looking into.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we've set anything in stone there quite yet, but hopefully that's something we can add for the future.
Yeah.
And I think it is about time we go into the hat giveaway.
Yep.
I think that's
Sounds good to me.
Liam is wearing plus 10 Dodge sneakers. Me and you. I'm wearing Converse All-Stars. What is my favorite D&D class? Well,
You haven't started playing yet.
well, Twixton, I am going to be playing a wizard with kind of necromancer skills going on. So it's funny you ask that in particular, since we're going to be on Skype later. We can do one more question while
All the
Blondie figures out
hats.
the
The
giveaway.
hats.
I like how the
Here we
viewer
go.
count is going up as we mentioned hats.
No, that's the amount of active people in chat.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
How many viewers do we have?
I'm not sure.
I don't want to know. It makes me nervous. Can I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for joining us for
Yes,
this stream.
fantastic.
This is something that, you know, we had no prior experience doing streaming until we started doing these streams for Vermintide. And any feedback on the format, you know, what kind of things you would like to see, do you want us to talk more, talk less, let us know. Please do, because we do listen. Please go to our forums and tell us what you think.
And we're still intending to do one of these every time we release a major
Yeah.
or a more major content update.
Yeah.
I think,
A merger.
yes. And I think when we do big content updates, we'll probably be doing longer streams with more people that have worked on it and bring
Yeah.
multiple other people into it.
I know I was talking to a couple of the different team members, and it's funny because when we started doing streams, people were kind of reluctant. I know we have a lot of camera shy people. Now a lot of people have been showing up saying that they really want to be a part of the live streams.
Yeah.
I like the hashtag.
Yeah, the hashtag
That's
for
my
this
idea.
competition is pretty good.
And what's funny is now we've got a lot of people who actually really want to do it. So what was I going to say? Yeah, I know that Magnus, one of our writers, is interested in doing a stream.
Yeah.
Daniel, our lead level designer, is interested in doing a stream. Our sound
Sound
team,
guys, yeah.
all of our sound team, all three
They're
of them.
all interested.
Yeah, they just want to be in front of the
I think that
camera.
would be great. I
Yeah.
think that would be a really good one.
So that will be kind of what we more meet the devs type stuff is what we want to do. And we're always going to bring Tom whenever we can because of his beard. And the day he shaves is the day he'll be fired. I'm not serious.
Thank you.
Just putting that out there.
Okay,
So yes, if you type hashtag Tom's Beard with a capital T and a capital B and are following us on Twitch, you have to be a follower of us. Otherwise, we cannot contact you with the hat. And it will be tragic
Yes.
because we'll be sitting on all these hats. And who do we give them to?
So I think
So-
we'll leave this going for a minute or two, I guess,
Yeah.
to let everyone enter, and then
So ladies and gentlemen, if you want a hat out there in the snowy weather here in Stockholm, please type hashtag Tom's Beard in the chat and be a follower of us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Fatshark Games.
how many viewers do we have out of interest?
1280.
Okay, just to see like a good amount of people have entered.
Oh, we've got a lot of entries. So let me just say this one more time. Twitch.tv/Fatshark Games. Be a follower of us or you will not have a chance to win a hat.
How many hats are we giving away?
How many are we giving? 25. We're giving out
25.
25 hats.
That's a good chance.
That's actually
That's a very high
percentage-wise,
chance.
based on how many are watching the stream. That's quite
That's pretty good,
Might
actually.
Might happen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, should we give out the first hat in just a moment? I saw one other question. What does the hat look like? It's awesome.
Can we? Do you have it? Can we see it?
Does he have it?
Yeah, I should have.
It is Zaldrin Galklad for the dwarf.
I still missed that
Oh,
hat.
there it is.
Got it.
In fact,
That's pretty cool.
do you want to put it on so that we can show people what it looks like?
Oh, we're just looking at it by ourselves. Q&A. Oh, I missed it. Sorry, man.
We'll have to take that afterwards, I think.
Yeah. What was that? What made you pick Uberstrike as location for the game? Ooh, that's a really good question. That's a question we haven't had in a long time. And
I can't remember the answer for that question.
no,
I mean, I don't know what.
I can't remember either. Do you remember?
I think it's because it ties in with the end times. In the first,
This is
'cause- so
Skaven.
we decided
Right.
to. I'm gonna sit really far away from the microphone, but speak louder, and it's gonna sound terrible. But in the first End Times book, we know that Uberstrike gets attacked by the Skaven,
Yeah.
among many other places. So that's why we decided to do just Uberstrike, because Games Workshop basically gave us free reign with the extent of the damage.
Yeah.
I
There you go.
believe there was at one point an idea to just leave a crater.
We made that game already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, it looks
Sorry,
like
Fat
we're
Shark
slowing
reference.
down on the entries.
Where
now,
is
so-
Schresserschloss? Oh,
Oof,
that's a good question.
so,
Twitch.tv
yeah.
Fatshark Games. You have to be a follower of us, and the first winner is Irkush, and he is following us, which means he will receive a beautiful new hat.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Irkush. Thank you for joining the stream. And in a couple of seconds, we will be giving out another one. Here's an idea. I saw the words. Here's an idea. Oh, the Outland. The _Outland has just won a hat for the Dwarf Ranger. Congratulations. And
Chuki.
What's that avatar say? Give me the chocolate and nobody gets hurt. Oh, that's great. Love it.
Congratulations,
Good
Chuki.
stuff. Thank you for tuning in to the stream. Chuki.
Thank you for following.
Thank you for hashtagging Tom's beard. So many thank yous.
Yeah.
Oh,
Griffith EU.
Griffith. What is that picture?
I have no idea.
Looks pretty cool. Looks a bit scary. There's a question about Steam Workshop. Steam Workshop support is definitely a possibility down the line. It's something that we may look into. No promises, but maybe look into. Captain George's, plural on George's, or is it Georges? Maybe I'm not pronouncing it right.
Yeah,
If you cannot find a way to upgrade to the collector's edition, check out vermintide.com and hover over the buy now key, and there is actually an option right there. And if your name is under your bed lurking, that's a great name. You've just won a hat.
Congratulations.
Under your bed lurking. That's terrifying. Imagine if you
Quite
wouldn't have
terrifying.
won.
Quite terrifying. Next we have
Daltram. Congratulations, Daltram. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for wearing this hat, which is exclusive. I'll say one more time, this hat is only available via the stream. So the only people in the world, aside from developers, who have this hat are people who've got them through the stream. And one other guy. There was actually one other guy who got it. Because he found a really strange bug.
Lanston.
Lanston_.
Congratulations,
you are now
Lanston.
A hat owner.
It's a hat just like Cousin Ockrey used to have.
Should anyone care? You got another hat to Mantis Kana.
Mantis Kana, congratulations.
Give me the cookie, hashtag Tom's Beer. That's a good one. What cookie?
Fair few entries.
Keep them
now.
coming, hashtag Tom's Beard, and be a follower, just like the Sly Marbo.
The Slime Marbo.
Congratulations, you now have a hat. These hats are Steam keys that you input into your Steam account, and they acquire you a hat.
I think it works like a DLC, right? You add it in the key as you would add a game
activate
key.
a product.
Yeah, exactly.
And if your name is Kirkan Poltaya and you have a really 80s looking picture, no offense meant, I think it looks cool, then
that might be him or her.
What do you mean that might be?
You might have just insulted them.
I said it was cool.
Okay.
You're ruining it. You've just won a hat, sorry. moving on. Kikiliani. That's a cool name. You've just won a hat. Someone said give me the beard. I think they're misunderstanding. Screw the hats, reveal your future plans. On Thursday, my friends.
Soon.
Free Cousin Ockrey or Riot. That's good.
Open up, Chuck.
Open up, Chuck. You've just won.
Congratulations.
I've missed it again. There's one guy who keeps asking a question, and there's always this purple heart.
We'll
next
make
to
sure
it.
to take it afterwards. I think this one.
We can try. Yeah, we can do some more questions after the giveaway. Definitely. Yeah. I think we're doing okay on time. Jammy T Dodgers from the Discord, I believe. Congratulations. You just won a hat. And now you can tell me on Steam how happy you are. I joke.
That's going to happen though, isn't it?
Congratulations, friend. And... Oh! How do I pronounce that? It's like...
Thin Tang.
It's like Cthulhu, isn't it?
Thin Tang.
Thin Tang.
We can't say your name, but you just won a hat.
Congratulations.
Tom's beard, purple heart.
Hashtag Tom's beard, hashtag Liam's beard, exclamation mark.
No, there's no beard.
Okay.
If you hashtag Liam just shaved, don't do that. That sounds weird.
Murmur UK.
Murmur UK, you've won.
Congratulations.
That is a picture. Please, for the love of God, I saw it and then I didn't see what it ended with. For the love of Ockrey, love it. Elven lives matter. Hashtag Tom's beard.
Spoon 40k.
Oh.
Congratulations.
Spooning with 40k.
How many left? Can't be many now.
12. No, 7.
7 remaining.
It's a big span, isn't it?
Quick
7
math.
hats remaining. Let's do
Good
them
luck.
slower and
Good
slower,
luck,
shall we?
everyone.
I can't math.
Liam just shaved, love it. Thanks, bro. Liam's... Oh, that's not...
Gryzy Bikoff.
Don't know what that means.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Grizzy...
Bikoff.
Grizkov.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you for tuning in for the stream and for hashtagging Tom's beard. Someone just posted their key right there, or maybe they were making it up.
Paprick84. Congratulations, Paprick84.
Congratulations. The hat craze is real. Agreed.
Hashtag Tom's beard for president. That's interesting.
Carillion is my wife. Illegit 565. This is a legit account. You heard that one before?
He's following.
Thank you, my friend. You have now earned yourself a hat. And Melodic Sam. Congratulations. Sam. That's a good name. What is that picture? That fire thing. I don't know. It looks pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, 5 left.
There's another question.
4 left.
Who put Trump's beard? Oh no, we've got somebody who actually isn't a follower of us on Twitch. So I'm not going to say your name, so
No,
you
that
don't
would
have to
be
feel
that
it.
would
But
be quite embarrassing.
if you're not a follower of us on Twitch, we cannot send you a hat, unfortunately. So you have to be a follower. Twitch.tv/Fatshark Games. Follow us, and we shall hat you. We've got another one. Oh boy. I have to re-roll that trait.
There we go.
Graskull.
Grass Skull. Congratulations.
I'm going to guess this is Norwegian person. I'm just
Why?
guessing, because that just seems Norwegian to me.
Okay. I wouldn't know.
I'm not being Swedish. Bless this ravaged body. Love it.
Bless this ravaged body.
Tom's beard. You only have to put the hashtag
There
once.
we go.
Legrignotten. Good one. Congratulations. Oh, someone said they loved us. We love you too. Tom's beard. Remember that not all of us are lemmings. Someone said. I could.
William Nye.
Oh, congratulations, William Nye. Thank you for tuning in.
Bill Nye? No?
Bill.
Liam's baby face. That's not the hashtag. Damn it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'll let you have that
North
Last
War.
The last one.
Hat. North War. Congratulations.
one. The war in the north. Sorry, I'll never do that again.
Okay.
All right. Oh, they were Norwegian, or someone else was. Well, ladies and
North
gentlemen
War.
of the stream,
Congratulations.
we are now done. No more hashtags are required. Although, if you just want to let Tom know about his beard, you can keep it going. So that is pretty much it for our giveaway. We'll do some quick questions before we wrap up the stream and all go home and sleep. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for being a part of this live stream. Once again, let us know what you think about the stream, anything you'd like to see in future streams, or updates for the game as well.
Yep.
Check out our forums and drop us your feedback.
Have we told people about the Steam group?
Oh yeah, that's right. If you want
That
to
might be worth-
get hats,
Yeah.
let's talk about hats for a second.
Mm-hmm.
If you join our official Steam group, you will receive 2 hats.
Yeah.
For free right
Yes.
now. They can only be acquired via the Steam group. So definitely check that out. If you want info on the Steam group, you can check out our discussion boards, and you can find it fairly easily. Blondie's laughing, which means something's funny. Liam for president.
Hashtag bath time with Tom.
Oh no.
That's a DLC we're never making. A lot of questions about licking Tom's beard right now.
Okay, that's a bit weird.
It's your beard and my hair, apparently. And someone hates their life. Oh.
Yeah, so, and the Steam group is also a fantastic way to keep up with updates. Knowing
Yes.
when patches go live, knowing we do announcements every now and then for maybe things that might be coming up,
Yeah.
and all that kind of thing. So not only do you get hats, you also get to keep up with information on the game. So
Exactly.
it's a great thing to.
No hat, now we riot.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We were right out.
Vermintide.com/Steam group.
Do we have that?
Does that work? Vermintide.com/Steam group. Get your free hats,
Fantastic.
folks.
Fantastic.
No hat, please. Sorry, guys. Well,
We
here's
will
what's
be
gonna
giving
happen.
hats away, though. I guess most streams.
Yes, every single stream we do like this, we're going to be giving away hats. It is a
Yes.
stream tradition.
Might not be this hat.
Might not be this hat.
Might
We
be a
might have
different
hats for different people.
Might not be a hat.
Might not be a hat.
No pay to win.
No prize to win.
We're not giving away
No,
microtransactions.
we're not giving away red weapons or.
No.
But the hats.
Oh, here we go. Here's the Purple Heart question. What about I can't talk. What about what trinket a hero is using is displayed near their health bar? That is a
This
really cool
will
idea.
help deciding who should be taking the Tomes
Yeah.
to Scrims.
Naradina
Good
123.
idea.
First of all, thank you for asking this over and over again, and sorry for missing it. That is a really cool idea. I like
I'm
that.
interested to know which trinkets you want to know that they're wearing in order for taking Tomes of Grimoires.
That is a good question, but
Because
I guess
there's the trinket that
Yeah.
stops you, reduces the effect of curses, which I believe the majority of people know now that it diminishes the
It's a grimoire.
effect.
It's grimoire.
Diminishes the effect of grimoires
Yeah.
on yourself, and that is regardless of whether or not you've picked it up or not. So if someone else in your party picks up a grimoire and you have that trinket equipped, it will reduce your maximum health by a smaller amount.
Yeah, which is great for Cataclysm runs, by the way.
Yes, fantastic.
Y'all. Liam and Tom, best couple. We're not actually a couple.
Is there a possibility for more enemy factions? I read somewhere that Chaos and Vampire counts with a possibility. Also, Bright Wizard be seeing some more love with some free hats. I like free hats.
Definitely possible.
Yeah, definitely possible.
On all of those questions. Tom's bread. That's I like that.
Okay, shall we
Let's do
wrap
wo-
this up?
let's do one more question.
One more question.
One more question. Where is it? Where is our question?
I've seen that one going quite a lot, but
Is that-
I'm worried. We'll take this one and another one. SLI optimization. What's going to
SLI
get worked on a bit
optimization.
more?
I'm not sure. I think
I think
last I heard we were waiting on a response.
I think
about
so.
that.
I think it's something that's in the minds
Yeah.
of the people that are working on optimization. So hopefully we can get
Yeah.
some more information to you about that.
I know we were in touch with Nvidia about that.
Yeah,
Last I heard, but
that's
we can
all
follow
I
up
know
on that.
now, unfortunately.
Definitely follow up
Okay,
on
definitely last question. The only reason I wanted to answer that one was because I've seen it
yeah.
scrolling quite a lot. So, okay.
Let's do a really good one now. Let's do the best one. Liam's hair is another question.
Will we ever get access to Shrine?
I don't know.
That's a good
I
question,
don't
though.
actually know. It is a good
Will
question.
we ever get access to the Shrine for trinkets? I think
Yeah.
that's a perfect example of if it's something that the community wants.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, gusto behind wanting that in the game, then maybe it's something we can look at.
What I'll also say is what we're working on is a quest system.
Yes.
And completing a quest means you'll get a reward.
Well, hopefully.
Just going to leave it at that. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the stream.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you very much. Thank you
And
very much.
we really appreciate all the feedback and all the questions and everything. It is really a privilege for us to be able to do this. So thank you so much for tuning in. And we hope you enjoyed the stream.
And we'll see you next time.
We will see you next time.
When
hopefully.
that will be, I'm not sure. But
Um,
soon, I guess.
when the-
some time in the future.
when the game mode's out.
Yes. Great.
That's actually, I think, our next big update.
Yes.
So check
So
it
relatively
out.
soon then.
Somebody just said they'd send us an application and they hope to be stroking Tom's beard. I think those two things in one sentence are dangerous.
Kind of weird. Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much, folks. We will
Thank
see you
you.
next time.
The world is ending, and no one will be left to tell the tale unless you can stem the vermintide.